There was a scene, I don't know if you saw this, I don't know if it went viral or not, but me and my wife cracked up. They talked to Mike Tyson right before he went to the ring. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to be ready. We're ready. Yeah, yeah. And he turned around and his ass was just out for the world to see. Just like, what? I mean,
Yeah.
he was like, he was talking,
Yeah.
he turned around and everybody was like, what was that? Uh-oh, this is
Ty-
that kind of thing.
Tyson gives no F's anyway.
Did you see that? Did that go viral? I don't know. I didn't check.
I don't know
This
how
this
viral it went, but I don't want to see his ass, man.
this is Show versus Business, where pop culture meets pop money with your host, the real Theo Harvey and Mr. Benja. So, Mr. Benja, what's going on this week?
Have you ever felt like you're tired of everything that's going on? There's so much noise coming through the streams, coming through Netflix, coming through social media, your people calling you, and everybody just wants a piece of you. But you're like, you know what? I've been here for a while, man. And it just seems like it's not about the real thing anymore. It's just about looking like the thing. I was feeling like that. And then this Tyson hoopla started. And we got to touch on it, man, because Tyson just did his thing and Paul did his thing and Bitcoin's doing its thing and Disney's doing their thing. Streaming is doing their thing and sometimes not doing its thing. It's just like a lot of this digital stuff. I don't know, man. Something not quite real about it, but something very tangible about it. I don't know. We got to talk about it. We got to break all this down. And that's just the vibes going on right now. I don't know if you saw the fight or we'll get into it, of course, in a bit, but it's been an interesting week for me, man. How about you? How have you been?
Man, no, I'm actually pretty good, man. Yes, there's this vibe of fakeness out there and what's real, what's not. But I had a real experience. I had a chance to go to D-Town, Detroit, and spent some time up there for a couple of days and stayed downtown. Just got the vibe of the city, was impressed. Yeah, man, just got a chance to travel a little bit and see what's going on in the world. And it's definitely, it's cold. I'm in Florida, so I'm going up there. It's like 45 degrees. I know that's a brisk spring wind for those folks up there, but for me, I'm layered up. Got my
For some,
my undercoat. Go ahead.
for some reason, I imagine like you and Big Sean going to 8 Mile to watch a underground rap battle. But
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I would love to see where that I passed 8 Mile a couple of times. There's 7 Mile, 6 Mile. I stayed actually downtown and literally you're right there about 6 blocks from Canada, Windsor, Canada. So I could have just walked across the bridge and went to Canada for a little bit. So maybe I'll go check that out next time I go visit. But yeah, man, cool little city, man. So definitely enjoyed the vibe. And so I'm looking forward to go visit again. Have you ever been to Detroit?
I've been to Detroit on very few small occasions, but yes, I have. One was highlighted by me and my mother being stalked by this shady looking dude. And I kept thinking like, huh, if we walk through the shopping area, surely he won't show up here. And me and my mom went to, she's like, let's take a little break, go shopping over here, just look, see what's happening. And we're like looking at stuff to buy. And the shady dude shows up again. And I'm like, yo, Detroit, y'all tripping. And it was a bad impression first off, but
Absolutely.
yeah.
Nah, man, I love it. I love it. And then the other thing I did, so traveling, nice long flights. I had the opportunity to catch up on my movies. Have you heard of this little known movie called The Apprentice?
Yes.
Yeah.
My mind jumped to Trump because we were talking about him before, but the movie The Apprentice. Go ahead.
Yes. It is about Trump. Basically, it's a movie he probably didn't want you to see. It was very controversial when it first was announced. Basically, about his time when he was basically the beginning stages of him becoming a real estate magnate that he became there in New York City, and how he met Roy Coyne. Am I saying that right? Coyne. Apologize if I'm saying it wrong, but he was his mentor on how to navigate the mean streets of New York and get things done. And basically, the rules that Roy Coyne gave to Donald Trump in his younger days are all rules that we hear Donald Trump doing over and over again. I think one of the rules was like never ever admit that you're wrong.
Yeah.
Always fight. Don't stop fighting. And even when you lose, act like you win. So it's these three rules over and over again that we've seen Trump enact, and it all came from Roy. And if you don't know who Roy Coyne was, he actually was part of MacArthur. I had to do the research on him. He was a lawyer under MacArthur, and obviously MacArthur was big on the Red Scare and trying to get people labeled as communists in the 50s. And so he became a prominence because he was actually the one that prosecuted, I think it's the Rosenbergs, who were convicted of being Soviet spies. And so he became really known for that. And then became a lawyer in New York and just was power brokers to the mayor of New York and everybody. And so
Yeah.
I guess he took a shine in the movie, which is it's a journalist that directed and wrote it. So some of the facts are there, obviously, and it's shot like a
Yeah.
documentary. So it's weird. It was shot like old school 16 millimeter film.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
looks grainy. Yeah, it looks grainy. And so it looks like you're actually in a documentary film, even though it's a film, it's a narrative,
Yeah.
fictional.
I'm looking at the trailer now, and yeah, I get what you're saying. It's, oh, okay. I thought this was real footage for a second that they somehow had, but no, it's filmed old way. And why is it
Yeah.
1999 to rent online?
I know. Yeah, I went ahead and bought it. Yeah, I rented it. I wanted to check it out because I don't think it got a big film release because it was very controversial because it was about Trump. And so
Mm.
we're scared to distribute it because they felt Trump would sue them. Because let's be honest, there's some nasty portrayals of him in the movie. Some of the things he said he never did or has been alleged of doing. It's portrayed in the movie. But I would say this: the guy who played Trump was Sebastian Stan. If you don't know who that is, Bucky Barnes from the Winter Soldier, right? He's enmeshed in Marvel MCU world. Has been playing these little indie movies here and there, and so he plays Trump. I was impressed. He did a great job, man. He actually had to play Trump in two different eras in the late 70s when he's just getting started. He's a young man, so there's some Trumpness about him, but it's not fully formed. And then he plays him later where that Trumpness is there, right? The cadence, the exaggeration, the gaudiness and all that. That he played that to a pitch. He may not sound exactly like him, but
Yeah.
the cadence and everything was like amazing. So kudos to him, man. Who knew he had that in him, man? The guy who plays the Winter Soldier, man. There you go. But yeah, great movie.
So this is interesting, and we're going to talk about streaming later, but this is fascinating. How long has this been out? This came out this year. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, for something of this style, I wouldn't have expected it to be at $25 to buy and $20 to rent right off the bat. But I guess if you've got that type of, you're going to get a certain amount of people who are going to buy it and watch it anyway. Might as well put it up there instead of 4.99.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like it's not made for mass media because it's not complimentary to them. And even the ones who it's basically you could probably find people who hate this movie on both sides, right? Probably doesn't
Yeah.
go hard enough. It doesn't go hard enough for the people that don't like him. And it is definitely not just a beautiful portrayal of Trump as he
Hmm.
ascends into the heavens, right? So it's fair, I think, and balanced. And the actor humanizes him, right? That's got to be hard. It's hard. It's very easy for presidents, let alone someone like Trump, to become almost a caricature, right? Just someone that you just look at and just, oh yes, this is how he sounds. Even Obama, we all know how Obama speaks now because we were inundated with it, right? For 8 years. This is not how it's gonna go. That yeah, and this is how we talk.
Yeah.
That long pause with the clip. Then we all know how Trump talks. This is great,
Bad,
wonderful.
but
So
bad people on there. But this guy, he's great. I love him.
yeah,
I talked to his mother. Her mother's great.
yeah, exactly. So we all have that. So it's hard for presidents to become just like the broad strokes, but he actually found some moments of humanity in a person that some people think doesn't have any. So it was great. Great. I thought it was a good movie, man. So yeah, kudos to them. So anyway, what about you, Mr. Benja? How was your week?
So with this, every time I come on, I've been talking about different. We talk about books we read, revisiting books. I'm going back through "Personality Isn't Permanent" by Benjamin Hardy. I've just been working on my flow. And when you look back at something like a book or training or something a second and third time, you start looking at, oh, okay, I thought I was doing that, but I really wasn't doing it. I was just going through the motions, maybe, but I really wasn't invested. I really didn't get it and feel it. So I just started getting in my flow this week. And there was the whole thing about not just with Benjamin Hardy, but this whole thing about flow and hey, if you're going to do this one thing, do that one thing and cut everything else off. With playing games and like watching movies or whatever, I was like, man, I shouldn't be watching this movie, but last week it was working. Oh, you're just juggling stuff. And I'm like, okay, what do I cut off? What do I not? Alex Hormozy, put yourself in a room with no decorations on the wall or anything. And I was like, okay, I'm not that type of, that's not how I work, basically. But I got into a flow where I was like, what if I like only listen to this one playlist of music? That's all I listen to. And I didn't even worry about trying to figure out other music. It's just like whenever I get home from the gym, I listen to this playlist. Whenever I'm about to go to bed, I watch Batman. Whenever getting very specific about how I do certain things. And my God, I've been able to get more done and been able to up the amount of nonsense at the same time. It's incredible. If I'm like, if I say I'm going to bed at 9 and it's creeping around like 7:30, I'm thinking to myself, I have an hour and a half of Batman and this I can watch. Or I could try to get stuff done and crunch that down to maybe 45 minutes of Batman and whatever else I watch. And there are a few YouTubers I check out. That would be the other thing. But it's funny how you can streamline the amount of nonsense and still get all of that done. And people like a lot of people do this where it's, nah, I got to have my time for games. I got to have my time for this and that. But they streamline it so well that it doesn't disrupt them.
Mm.
And yeah, even like cheat days and eating garbage food, you're like, how can The Rock eat this and that on this day? Hey, he just streamlined the process. He knows when he's going to eat an entire pizza and a box of wings all at once. It's just streamlined. So in a good flow this week, man.
I love it, man. You hit the point nail on the head. I think Benjamin Hardy talks about it. You need your rest time, right? That's how
Mhm.
you are able to get the energy. And I think sometimes we live in a world that's always on with the algorithms, always demanding our attention and time
Yeah.
with notifications and all that. We think that we're a machine too, that we can just go. But you're right, man. Sometimes, like today, I slept in late at 7 o'clock. Usually I get up at 5. Oh no. And then usually I get up early and I do some work for business and all that. But I was like, you know what, man, I want to do work for business. So I leisurely just got some coffee, just check some things real quick, and then went to Sam's Club and looked at some Christmas gifts and things like that. Yeah, man. And I was like, wow, usually on Saturdays I'm up working or grinding, but I was like, you know what? It's good to just switch it up a little bit to your
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
because I think that allows you to be in that flow. Cause I was in the flow this week. I mean, traveling for business. I got a sales guy now. We're grinding that. Marketing guys pinging me. Got some operation stuff. I lost one of my resellers, trying to
Mhm.
figure out we're gonna get some new customers. So I was juggling this week, man.
Yeah.
But it was good just to relax. And then I had some family stuff last night. They wanted to go to this Wonderland, and I'm tired, but I rent. Yeah, there's a lot, man. So I need a break.
Yeah. But you know what? It's funny. The break, I've started to view it more as there isn't with the flow, you're talking about cycles, perfect
Yeah.
circle of let's bring up Loki and the infinite timeline circle and all that nonsense again. But instead of having a quote unquote break, you have these transition moments or these switches
Mhm,
over into where you're just flowing from your work into your relaxation and different parts of you take the forefront while different parts of
mhm.
you relax or whatever.
Mm,
So I'm working and I'm thinking, man, my Batman time and my sleep time and my wake time, that's no longer like a break. That's just another part of me getting in its flow. You know what I
mm.
mean? So, dude, I got home one day and I was thinking to myself, because it's something to look forward to. And I'm looking forward to, oh man, I'm gonna get home. I'm gonna play some games a little bit. I'm gonna eat some gummy bears and I looked around, I was like, I ain't got no gummy bears. I got no gummy bears. And my little that part of my life started to just fall apart. I'm like, how can I play games and grow up? I had this thought about screw it. Jump back in the car, pew, took off to the store, got my gummy bears, and actually ended up getting licorice, but whatever.
I
Got
love it. I
home,
love
did the thing, had fun with it. And what's interesting is while I'm having fun, I'm thinking about work in the background. And when I'm thinking about work, I'm thinking about play in the background. But while I'm working, I'm like, oh yeah, I could do that. Jotted down a little note. Oh yeah, this will be that. I'll get to that in the morning because in the morning it'll be time for that to start up. That's okay. It can wait. And it wasn't like this pressure on me. I just knew the cycle was moving. I got a whole new view
it.
on the thing. So It's
No, you said a good point. It's like there's different parts of you, right? And I thought about that too. I think Jerry Seinfeld said this before. He did a joke about night you is hanging out, having a good time, drinking, eating wings, doing whatever, and you just having a good time. He said, "Should I have another drink? Yeah, I should. Screw morning me." And so he was able to dissect,
yeah,
between the night you and the morning you. And because in the morning you was like waking up, oh, what did my night meat do? I'm hurting, my head hurts, and I'm late for work. And I started to do that too sometimes. I'll like, okay, I gotta figure all this out today. And then I did this one thing, I shipped all this stuff out and all this stuff. I said, well, how am I gonna do all this, all this? You know what? I said, that's Theo's problem. I'm not gonna worry about that
yeah,
today.
yeah,
So I like what you just said. Is sometimes you have to bifurcate yourself, whether it's like job duties. Okay, that's a job. Like sometimes I have all these things on my head on Friday. I say, you know what? That's Monday Theo's problem. Friday Theo, he's gonna sit down and watch this show. And so I like what you said. Is like you have to have the other side of you take over because they need their flow too. And so once they're in their flow, then it's like balance. It's very similar to The Substance. Have you ever watched that movie we talked about?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you got to have that flow. You got to have the other you evolve because it needs the other you to sustain and vice versa. And so if you don't let the other you out, then you just get crammed with too much work and then you're not very productive. And to your point, you're right. When I'm watching movies or something like that, so many ideas come to my head. I think I was watching the Apprentice and some new ideas came up. I said, let me write that down and then just go back into the movie. But to your point, work Theo's, dang, that was a good idea. Chill
yeah.
Theo. Thank you.
It's funny. I even have a specific jot book just for when I'm sitting down watching nonsense. So I just keep it right next to me, and then I'm sitting there watching something. I'm like, this anime is very. You know what I could do with that spreadsheet? Okay, and then I get back to watching anime.
Another thing too, since I employ people and have all these jobs, typically if I got an idea, I just write an email and I don't send it. I just have it sitting in my draft. So it's out of my head
Yeah,
and oh,
out
this
of
is the
your head.
idea for them. Yeah. So that's the thing. I have to just, oh, they could do this. They could do this. I said, I just let me just send it. Instead of sending it, I used to send it when I thought about it, but now I just let it sit for a little bit. So there's more I want to add to it or add more nuance. It gives me time to let it rest there. To me, that helps me. And then I guess my team is getting to a point where I'll send these long emails and there'll be just points of like different things I want to cover. Either
Yeah,
they did do or didn't do, right? Or they should do. And they'll be like, oh, okay. And I'll send it usually around the same time, like 6 in the morning on Mondays. Let's go. So they wake up. I know, man. I hate it when I got stuff like that from my boss, but just because if I don't, man, it just sits there and lingers. And then
hmm
what happens, and then also I set it up where I only have one meeting with them like once a week. So
yeah,
that way, if they have ask me a questions or something, I said let's just wait till Friday,
yeah.
If it's super critical, fine, I'll deal with it. But if it's not, let's wait till Friday. So yeah, you're right. You gotta compartmentalize, or if you don't, man, you'll just go crazy.
Not totally. If you want a really woo book reference that'll take you
Okay.
off into woo land,
Oh,
Eckhart Tolle, The
oh yeah. I heard
Power
that
of
one.
Now.
Yep.
That's
Eckhart
a
Tolle.
yeah. Very. You could put his audiobooks on 7X and still be looking for the how do I speed this up?
Is that a function of the way he talks, or
Yeah.
just the concepts are pretty straightforward?
No, the concepts are not straightforward. They need to take it takes a bending of the mind to okay, I've been thinking about things in this way, and he doesn't start you off from your way of thinking. He's you need to think like this, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
And then he's if you consider where life and then now, and you're like, oh my god, what are you talking about? And you can't like speed through it too much because then you'll trip up and lose yourself. And yeah,
Yeah.
he's an interesting guy. I'm not like
Yeah.
advocating him, but if you listen to him and you figure out what he's talking about, you'll definitely see that, oh, there's a completely different way of thinking that I probably I should wouldn't say look into or try to apply to myself, but when you realize something is happening a completely different way than you've been doing it, it just gives you a variation where you're able to like, oh, okay, that is a perspective. Not that I'm going to go with it, but just having that other facet out there is very interesting.
Yeah, he's still around too, man. 76 years old, man, out there in these streets. And that brings up a good point, man. We've always had um gurus. It's just funny. It's just, yeah, we got these YouTube gurus and influencers, right?
Yeah.
But it's we had the book guys, right? We had the business gurus, right? And probably before then, we had the traveling sales guys or whatever that
Mhm.
people looked up to. So it's I think we're just all searching for that. Someone's got the answer. Someone's got the answer. Who's got the answer for me? Oh, he's got the answer today. Oh no, maybe he's got the answer today. So it's just I love it, man. It's just interesting to understand that's just part of human nature, man. So that's the scary part too, because I predict that once AI becomes good enough, man, they'll be spitting out these AI influencers, man, like
Yeah.
water, and they'll have like tribes of people. No, I listen to him, AI Theo, or I listen to AI Benjamin. It's
Yeah. Yeah, there's a fair amount of that out there. I told you I started listening to a speech by Denzel Washington, and I was like, "He sounded pretty robotic." And then it turns out he was AI,
oh no, oh
and I thought it
no,
was a Denzel Washington speech.
oh
You
no.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, man, this stuff is getting crazy, man. Because we just, as human beings, we're just there's a piece of us that wants to join and be a part of something bigger. And so we talked about that, man. We're getting very philosophical here on Show versus Business. But please, guys, flow with us. We
Tyson's a
talked about this.
philosopher, so we'll bring it back around.
Yeah, yeah, we'll bring it right back around. But it's we're not loyal to cities anymore, towns, really. Every so often, I don't really feel like I'm part of Tampa, right? Yes, I can go around and do stuff, but there's those people who are, they're
Mhm.
on boards and they do stuff, but I don't think a vast majority of people feel committed to a city or town like we once did. But so let's say I like Tampa Bay Bucks, but that's a sports team, right? So it's like I could be a Tampa Bay Bucks fan, but I live in San Francisco.
Yep.
So it's you're not attracted to the city so much, but you're attracted toward categories of the city. And likewise, there's fans of Alex Hormozy, there's
Yeah.
fans of Dan Henry, and you just that's who you are. And then what if the gurus start to war with each other? We're no longer seeing ourselves warring as cities, states, and countries. Are we
Yeah.
warring as followers of this tribe? Does that
Yeah.
make sense? So I
Mhm.
wonder if that's where it's going. So be curious to see because I think it's easier to amass. Even us, we have a small following. We're mayors of a small little town in some places.
Yeah, it's hey, tell somebody you're on any social network and somebody will jump in and say, "Man, that's you're like, oh geez, here we go."
So anyway, I just think the evolving nature of what it means to have a connectedness. Like for instance, even my neighbors, I know a few of them, but not like we used to. Like
Yeah.
this one, they're literally right next door to me, but I probably feel more closer to people I've never met personally with those
Yeah.
parasocial
Yeah.
relationships online. So anyway, that's just something more little woo philosophical thoughts I'm having around what does it mean to have a community?
And I think this is a good lead into our talk here because I was feeling things during this Tyson fight. And I realized that for those, I don't know when you're listening to this, but Mike Tyson just finished his fight with Jake Paul. Ended up losing by decision. It was a big hoopla. Was he 58-year-old boxer? Hasn't really been really fighting since 1990, and back gets back in the ring with this young whippersnapper and
Slash influencer. Let's put it out
slash
there. And then
influencer slash podcaster slash energy drink peddler. You know,
huckster.
yeah, slash crypto apologist. You can throw a lot of things his way, but boxer and athlete wasn't really one of them until just recently. And so this whole thing comes up. People are interested in fights, and because of UFC and all that, is boxing going to return? And this has been the biggest boxing draw for a while. Classic figure versus young figure, which is also something that's been going on. The old versus new kind of thoughts on the internet, millennials versus Gen Alpha, okay boomer versus Gen Z or whatever. It's been a thing. So now you have this big fight that comes up and it's streaming on Netflix. I don't know if we have any Netflix numbers on how many new subscribers they got or anything, but it's been a lot of talk. And I don't know, Theo, did you see this? Did you see the fight?
No.
Why not? Why not?
I wanted to. I fell asleep. I
Oh,
watched the undercard, the women fighters. I can't remember their name right now. We'll look them up. But I was getting ready for it and I fell asleep. And so even my wife fell asleep. So I was going to watch just to see, what was it about. People don't realize. I mean, I heard rumors that it was boring and all this other stuff. But that's just boxing, man. You very rarely gonna get knockouts. That's the hypeness of it, right? We
Mm,
saw the promotion of Mike Tyson slapping Logan Paul, and everybody's, oh, this is gonna be a fight now. And then Tyson saying, I'm gonna kill him, and all this other crap.
yeah,
Man, if you know anything about boxing, that's just language, man. Just get people to click, yes, I want to watch
yeah.
this, right? So it's not something that hasn't been done before. But to answer your question succinctly, no, I didn't watch it, but I got the sense of what it was just from reading stuff, and then also, yeah, this is the first time. Did you watch it?
I was scared to, and I opted not to. And when I say I was scared to, because I hold boxing in certain competitions in the category that I like don't want to see messed with too much, and I felt the
Mhm.
whole scenario was just going in a bad direction, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it felt. I didn't like the way it was just promoted. It just felt like a big sham. And not necessarily that they weren't going to try their best, but it's if Tyson wins, what does that mean? If Tyson loses, what does that mean? If Paul wins, what does that mean? If Paul loses, it just didn't feel like a competition. It felt like this silly show. And I didn't like that. I was like, ah, I I just don't like the feeling of it. I'm not even gonna watch it.
Yeah,
So I did.
which it was from Rosie Perez being one of the ringside commentators. I didn't know Rosie Perez was involved in boxing like that. What's Rosie Perez out here?
Someone called her the queen of boxing, and I'm like, you mean from her "Do the Right Thing" dance off in what in the '80s? Get out of
That's what
here!
I'm saying. I typed in Queen of Boxing, and her name did not come up in Google in YouTube, man.
Some
Excuse me, Google. Yeah, I think
mom said that.
it's something that, yeah. Look, man, I'm looking like three pages down. I don't see Rosie Perez. No, oh, here it is. 2018. How Rosie Perez became the first lady. Oh, she's the first lady of boxing.
Okay,
Yes. So it's a New York Times article, but I had to go to the second page of Google to figure that out. But anyway, so that from that to just the foolishness of Lennox Lewis. He was there with his bald head. I didn't even recognize him because remember he had those locks back in the day. Evander Holyfield basically not really talking too much. It just they brought the whole cart of old boxers out there, man. It was just bananas. And then finally, there was a scene. I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if it went viral or not, but me and my wife cracked up. They talked to Mike Tyson right before we went to the ring. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to be ready. Be ready. Yeah, yeah. And he turned around and his ass was just out for the world to see. Just like, what? I
yeah,
mean, it was like he was talking,
yeah.
he turned around, and everybody was like, what was that? I said, uh-oh, this is
Ty
that kind of thing.
Tyson gives no Fs anyway, and yeah,
Did you see that? Did that go viral? I don't know. I didn't check. Did that go viral? Do you know what I'm talking about? Ass cheeks.
I don't know how viral it went, but
Just
I don't wanna see his ass, man.
yeah. But it was just, but the thing was, it was unexpected, right? That was the thing that got you so much. It was like he was talking, he had clothes on, everything was fine. Then when he turned around, then nothing but ass. It was just like, what happened here?
The
Yeah,
boxing trunks and the way they do their thing. Yeah,
sure.
it's
Sure.
in case you
I'll
didn't
just
know.
say, yeah, it was too much, man. But anyway, make a long story short, yeah, man, it was a foolish. It was just hypeness. It was on Netflix. We're paying for it anyway, so it
Mhm.
was cool to have that. But I think the technology, the live technology for Netflix, they still need to figure that out because there was a lot of glitches, a lot of slowdowns from the stuff we saw before the fight actually went on. And then when people finally watch boxing, they realize how boring it can be, right? If it's not like a knockout in the first 30
Yeah.
seconds.
Okay. So that and that type of fight that we saw, you gotta consider what you're watching. And in any competition, it's like you hope that these people are invested in the competition. What is Tyson there for? Does he really dislike this kid? Probably not. As a human, as a person or whatever, probably doesn't dislike him, maybe annoyed by him. But it's like, hey man, I've become a philosopher. I have a podcast about smoking weed, basically, hot boxing with Mike Tyson. I'm chilling. I've started going on tour, talking to people. I'm this philosopher now. And when you go watch a boxing match, a lot of times it's, yo, this kid came from the Bronx. This kid came from Queens. This kid came from Detroit. terrible history and he fought his way up through life and now he's here boxing. Wow, here's a story I could get into. And on one side, we have this guy pushing his energy drink. On the other side, we have this old philosopher who just wants to see what he can do in the ring. Major props to both of them, but it's not like their core essence is to be in there competing about boxing. It's something
Mhm,
completely different. And
mhm.
because of that, when I watched it, I didn't watch it. I saw some clips and I was like, oh, yeah, this old guy, Mike Tyson, I love him. I don't know if you know about him, but I really like Mike Tyson. Yeah, there's this older guy in the ring. He doesn't want to get hurt. There's a part of him that's
Mhm.
not who's, yeah, I don't want to get hurt. I still have a life to live. That's why I'm out here doing this because I have a life to live. I don't want to get hurt and mess up the rest of that life. And then you've got this kid who's, if I beat this guy or if I get beaten, then where's my promotion? What am I doing? So now I've got to.
Mm.
So if you look at both of them, neither of them are going to go balls to the wall and just duke it out. None of them are going to be playing too seriously with this because neither wants to get hurt or really hurt the other person. The interests are it just didn't feel right to me on that respect. So
You're a purist. You're a boxing purist, huh? You gotta come in. You gotta leave it all on the ground on the street, man. This is I'm ready. You are my way through to a better life, and I gotta punch you out to get there. That was never evident in either of those men's eyes right now. And it was even shown. I think the data said that I think he only hit uh Logan 19 times, and he only boxed like he only threw 97 punches throughout the whole match.
yeah,
So that shows you is and then he said there were 2 matches that he didn't even connect at all. He
yeah,
so it was like he was just out there, man. And then even Logan Paul admitted that he did not he slowed down a little bit. So it's what are we watching here, man? We want to see people who are locked in something that means almost near life and death to them. Tyson, and that's what we were. That's also the thing that kind of steered me the wrong way. You're right. It's like old versus new. They really were getting to that nostalgia play. Folks like us that grew up on Tyson remember the raw. You just see everything in his face, the pain, the anger, the frustration, right? You remember the Water Boy? You remember that scene in the Water Boy where he's running as a linebacker,
yeah,
as a DB, defensive back, and then the commentator freeze frames and show his face. Look at that face. That's the face of anger,
yeah,
frustration.
yeah. No, it's there's if you get down to think about any competitive movie where there's two fighters or two sports teams or whatever, a hero and a villain, they've got these sides, and you look at one person and you put a big sign over their head, and that's their thing. Like, I don't like you. I'm going to hurt you. This is for my city. I have a family to feed. I've been doing this my entire life. If I fail now, I'm going back to the ghetto. If I lose here, my image is shot. There's some thing that's hanging over their head that makes them really want to win and not to lose. And that competitive aspect was completely not com- almost completely absent from this, except even if you look at Mayweather's, I got this legacy out of this. I'm the best. And if I lose to you, I'm not the best. So guess what? I'm going to be the best. And I'm like, okay, let me sit down and watch to see if this guy's still going to be the best.
He's very defensive and he's not gonna let you hit his face. And when you watch the Mayweather Pacquiao fight, that was the
Yeah.
big thing that was gonna end boxing. And I actually was in Vegas during that time when it happened.
Yeah.
Yes, man. Everybody was super excited. And when you watch the fight, you're like, oh, this is what we signed up for. That's just
But yeah,
boxing in a
yeah,
nutshell, you
yeah,
know?
well, and yeah, and not I didn't even add in that aspect of it where it's, yeah, boxing is boring and technical in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because 'Cause you're setting things up for later. You say, "Okay, I hit
Yeah.
him." It's like chess, right? I hit
Mhm.
him with the left hook. He's taking then he forgot about it. "Oh, I'm gonna remember that the 3rd round." So it's that's what you're doing in the midst of all that. But the thing that made Tyson but to your point, Tyson was that's the thing. We were
Grew
looking
up
at
on it.
58 yeah, we grew up on that. We were looking at 58-year-old Tyson like he was 18-year-old Tyson. That raw, like, "I'm gonna kill you. You my way out the ghetto. I'm about to do this thing." And that's what made him so compelling because he was going to destroy you if you didn't do it right. And when he got knocked out by Buster Douglas out of the blue, we were all like shocked, right? Because he had,
Mhm.
lost a step. He lost that desire a little bit and was never the same after that. But yeah, Tyson has always been an exciting character for those who grew up on him. But now, to your point, he has evolved beyond that. I think he had a Broadway play, right? At one time that went around. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, I never got a chance to see it, though I
what
wanted to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't know you were such a Tyson fan, man. Wow, who knew? I've known you over 30 years almost. You a Tyson fan?
Hey, man, I'm I'll tell you offline. I'll tell you offline. I got something in the
Oh.
works I wanna do,
Hey
but yeah,
guys, this
Tyson
is
was,
show versus business uncut. We'll give you uncut version later. I love it, man. Okay, yeah. So anyway, yeah, I hear you, man. Like I said, I think we both. So look, guys, we didn't watch it, so we're not gonna sit here and say we did. Hope you enjoyed it, but if you like vast majority of people who saw that mess, I don't think anyone that really enjoyed it. They just got fell into the hype, and it was on Netflix. Kudos to Netflix trying to do more interesting things with live sports and stuff like that. So,
do you watch
uh,
a lot of live streams? Sports, I mean?
what
Live
Well, I mean, I
sports, you
watch
watch.
sports. Yeah, I watch Lakers a lot. I watch NFL football. Those are the kind of things I watch. And baseball every now and then.
Yeah.
But most of the time, to your point, I watch. Sometimes I even watch his highlights on YouTube because I don't have time
Mhm.
to watch the whole show. Those YouTube highlights, man, they get through in 20 minutes. You're like, cool. But yeah, but you know what was driving sports now, though, Mr. Ben? What's driving live sports, though?
What's that?
Gambling.
Oh, yeah.
People,
Yeah.
yeah, because college football is on right now as we're talking. There's some games. I think Colorado, which is run by Prime Time, Deion Sanders and his son, who
Yeah.
probably will be the Heisman winner. They're playing a sucky team right now, but guess what? People are watching it, man. People are watching it because they're betting, and so I think that's what's driving a lot of the live sports to because that's one of the few things that you feel like it can't be fixed. There's always ways you can do it, but it's just so many different variables that you would have to fix that would be almost impossible. So people are looking to bet more. So I see that happening more and more where live sports, and that's why Netflix is dipping their toe into these type of
Mhm.
things because they see the future and news, right? Prime, we just talked about that last week before the election or 2 weeks ago. Prime, Amazon Prime did a live newscast election night. So these streamers are now starting to dip into live programming. And so my prediction, we got to do a prediction episode. I know we'll do it,
Oh,
but we're
yeah,
going to
getting
see
toward the end
more
of
and
the year.
more. Yeah. We're going to see more and more of these streamers just dip into everything the network is doing right now. And pretty soon we're just going to go to the streaming channels to see everything because they have more money than
Yeah,
Netflix. The only thing keeping TV, linear TV, that's what they call it. That includes cable television live. A lot of times is
for live.
advertising. Yep,
Yeah.
live advertising. And if they can't sustain that because they can't keep paying football, I forgot how much football was not. Basketball was like 30 billion or something. It's expensive to get the streaming rights,
Yeah.
so it's just gonna go up. So if you don't got the capital, you
Yeah.
can't play.
I was on when I got on online during the fight, not during the fight, during the election. It's funny, I opened up YouTube and there was a different bar. It was like my normal continue watching, hey, here's some things we are suggesting for you and all that. But then there was like a whole strip cut out that said election coverage, and you could just swipe through all the live streams going on about the
Mhm,
election.
mhm,
And so during events, you'll see more and more of that. Like you go to Amazon sometimes, and there's like, hey, check this out. This is happening live right
mhm,
now. Instagram, we got used to doing that, where no matter what you're doing, if there's somebody doing a live, that gets priority and it pops up at the very top. And hey, this person's talking live right now.
mhm.
And there's something very alluring about the live thing. Even when it's not that exciting, you're like, hey, this is happening. When? Right now. You just kind of want you just
It's a
want
good
to
prediction.
you just
Yeah.
kind of want to tune in.
I think you
Um,
and I have an experiment with live, right? I went live a couple of
mhm.
times. I used to
Yeah,
use Thursday night lives where I would interview entrepreneurs. I think you did some lives for a while, right? Just
yeah,
every day
almost a year.
almost. Yeah. So yeah, maybe that's coming back. I'm hearing. I think Nikki Saunders talked about that. People, more of these influencers are going live because they're seeing better numbers, that instant reaction. So yeah, 2025 might be the year of live, and we know 2024 is the year of podcasters. So so definitely 2025 might be the year. You got to go live. We're going live. F it. We're going live.
Yeah, and I want to wrap this in. You were talking about. Wait a minute. We said Netflix, Amazon. Does Disney do any live streaming at all?
Nah, not yet. Oh, you know what they are? They're doing something unique and different. They're doing Dancing with the Stars. It's not actually live, but it's
Mhm.
pre-recorded. But it used to be on network television, and so
Okay.
you familiar with Dancing with the Stars, right? That's been
Yes.
around for
Yes.
like 20 years. So they got some. We know who's going to win. There's always some young super dancer like Maya was on one year. She should have won. There's always this is the person that really should win. They got some
Yeah.
athletes, which, can move, barely have rhythm. And then you got some old folks out there doing their thing, coasting on goodwill. So it's an interesting mix of folks. But yeah, so they're experimenting. But did you know that Disney also announced their earnings? Their basically Q3 earnings this week. Did you see that news and
I
what
did not
they're
check out any
coasting
of
on?
their earnings news. No.
Yeah, man. So what do you think they were happy about this year so far?
The
And you're
only thing
reading the notes, so you're
uh,
reading the notes. So
well, no, even without the notes, I was about to say the only thing I could think of would be Inside Out 2. And
yeah,
because I know Agatha all along is cute, but it ain't catching those kind of numbers.
nah, no. Did you ever check up Agatha all along yet?
I'm still mad at WandaVision and the way they played that whole thing. So I'm it might be like 2027 and I call you up, "Hey man, I
Agatha
just checked out
all
Agatha."
along. It was pretty good, man. It's a little too devilish for me, but yeah, literally it's
Imma
like
check it out, Imma check it out.
witchcraft. But it was good. It had a good storyline. And then the Penguin, surprisingly, people were raving about that finale. So I don't know if you had a chance to check that out, but
No.
maybe we'll talk about it in the year pod review.
How many episodes is The Penguin?
I
8?
think it's 8. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I did wanna do it
Yeah.
nightly, watch an episode every night, so I
Yeah.
needed to wait.
Yeah. Put your list together. Maybe we'll do best of. We'll go over some stuff that we watched and yeah,
Alright.
we'll talk film. Yeah. We got till December. You got to December, Mr. Bitch. So go ahead and get your fake Gmail account set up so you can get that free trial. Oh, you didn't hear that from me. How to get around the subscriptions. Anyway, what were we about to say? Yeah, yes, Inside Out 2 and Deadpool Wolverine, number 1 and 2 movie of the year for it's phenomenally well for Disney. Obviously, they're both billion-dollar makers. They're both conveniently are on streaming, Disney Plus, their streaming show channel. And so I think as of last quarter, they have 4.4 million additional subscribers to Disney Plus, and they saw revenue rise 6% from the year before. So they roughly are making about $22.5 billion every quarter. So kudos to Bob Iger conquering hero returns after Chapek was kicked to the curb.
Yeah.
Iger went back to the classics. It's got Moana 2 up next, which rumor is that's going to be even bigger than Inside Out 2, right? Did you all of you watch Grace from what's it inside? Was it Outside the Trailer or what was her? I always forget. Just Grace. That's all I know her from. She goes do a breakdown of all the different Nielsen ratings for the streamers. Moana, the first Moana is always like number 1 or 2 for years basically since she's been doing it. So a Moana 2 release, and remember, Moana 2 was originally going to be straight to streaming, so they just repurposed it, and now it's going to be a movie, and they're going to do a live action movie with The Rock. So yeah, kudos to Moana 2. I think, yeah, I'm already taking the kids where we're going to go. So that's going to be a big movie for Disney as well. But yeah, man, Disney's, I guess, is cooking again, man. Stock is up. I'm loving that, the stock market. Any thoughts on Disney's earnings announcements?
For some reason, part of me just had a thought. I'm like, what if these major corporations just started their own? See, like the Mickey coin. I'm sitting here wondering if I could trade. Hey, can I buy this for 10 Mickeys? And I'm sorry, we don't accept Mickeys here. You'll have to convert them into Elon Doges. It's like, oh man, I don't want to convert to Elon Doges. Sorry, we only accept the Doge. So you got to convert. We're not going to do it for you. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to be weird. But no, that's the only thing I thought of with Disney earnings.
You bring a good point. Bitcoin is at all-time highs. It hit $90,000 recently. I think right before the election, November 4th, it was or November 5th, it was at $68,000. So it shot up 30% in 10 days. So now we got all the Bitcoin bros out there shilling their shit coins again. Sorry, they are. So now we're gonna have that crap again. It's scam malicious, man. Remember all the scams during that Bitcoin era?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Including TX, which has Sam Beckman Fried in jail right now. So
Yeah.
it seems like they guess what, man? What's those scenes in the movies? They knock on the door. Guess what? We're bringing the gang all back together.
It's an all new heist. Kim Kardashian, and yeah, we talked about Paul earlier. Wait, was that the right Paul? Jake Paul, or was it Logan Paul that did the crypto thing?
Logan Paul.
Okay.
I know that one. Yeah, I know.
All
They're
right.
both influencers. I know. It's confusing. And they both do boxing now. Crazy. But
Yeah.
I think that was a ploy, man. I think they single-handedly said, "Hey, boxing's down." I read it somewhere too. They talked about this. They said, "What sport can we dominate? Because no one's paying attention to it." And I think
Mm.
they purposely picked boxing because they felt there was opportunity there. But one thing I did want to bring up is you heard of prediction markets, Mr. Benja?
Prediction markets.
Yeah.
Sounds like something I should know. Go ahead.
Yeah, Poly Market, the world's largest prediction market. So basically, you can bet on anything, elections, you can
Oh,
bet on
okay.
trends. So you could actually put money toward these things. And I think there was a rumor that guy who bet that Trump
Betting
would
markets,
win.
basically.
Yeah, betting markets. They've been around for a minute, but these are actual markets. Obviously, a lot of them are outside the United States because they don't sanction that type of betting.
Mhm.
But we literally are living in a betting world now, man. And I think maybe that had a play also in how Trump won. We talked about betting on sports and how that's legal now in the United States. They've been doing betting overseas on soccer games for years. So it's becoming more and more a world where it's like anything you do or say can be betted on. And that's interesting.
So I think we actually touched on this years ago when we were talking about DraftKings and sports betting becoming
Mhm.
more regular. But no, I'm going to this poly market site, and this is funny. I just want to call out a couple of these things. Here are things you can bet on according to polymarket.com. Will Biden resign before, that's
Mhm.
already whatever. Um, who will Trump pardon in the first 100 days? And there's a bunch of guesses. Young Thug is on the list.
Is P. Diddy on the list?
Himself, January 6th protesters, Hunter Biden.
Diddy, 3%. I should bet
uh,
on
uh,
that.
who will be part of Trump's administration? Elon Musk, Mike Pompeo, David Sachs. It's
But then this is where the chicanery gets in here, man. Because a lot of
uh
these folks who are influencing this, right? Influencers are probably betting certain ways.
yeah.
Even your boy Joe Rogan,
Mhm.
if he,
Wait, why
yes,
is
he's
he my
making
boy? Like, I'll carry on. We'll just let that comment slide.
a because it does seem like these guys are in the bag here. Like Elon Musk, why now? It was like a calculated risk, right?
Mhm.
Elon Musk didn't really, he was talking about Trump, but he wasn't really like hugging Trump literally until the last couple of weeks. Because
Yeah,
maybe in his mind, the calculation was number one, he could get more what he wants with the Trump administration. And then also you look at these betting markets, man. And so if you look at these markets, man, you realize that this is what people are doing now, man. They're taking advantage of what the influencers are saying, how they're generating things. So can you really trust what any influencer is saying right now? Because it's influenced by a betting market that's gonna generate tons of cash for people if they bet. So it's an interesting time, man, to figure this out and how you want to generate revenue now. And obviously we live in a different world now.
yeah.
I think we're gonna be in a place of unmitigated capitalism. What's that scene from Star Wars? What does he say? The Emperor? You always say unmitigated power. What does he say?
Unlimited power.
That's what capitalism is right now, man. You got the Republicans, got the House, Senate,
Yeah.
the presidency, and the court. I'm telling you, man, if you don't have a corporation or a business, you are screwed because you need to have that now. Because if you're a worker, man, you can forget it. There are going to be no protections. Labor unions are done. I hate to say it, but this is what unlimited power for capitalism is going to look like. So if you're trying to make money, just focus on making money. That's why I tell everybody, man, this is a new world. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents, man. I know it sounds like a rant, but it
No,
sounds like the old man rant. But I'm telling you, man, this is going to be, you talking about regulations to slow you down, trying to get an M&A done, man, forget
yeah,
that, man. Just
this is bizarre. Despicable Me 4 grossed the most in 2024.
exactly.
Like, just some random stuff. Will Beyonce be the Billboard #1 pop star of the century? It's what?
Yeah.
So there's just a whole bunch of stuff on there. And for those of you who haven't been around gambling societies, it can degrade quickly. And watching it become normalized is bizarre to me, especially being someone that's been invested in, hey, let's put work, let's put thought, let's put ideas towards moving things steadily. orderly and progressively in a certain direction, that has to fight against somebody like, hey man, this gonna make me $100 this weekend if I put in 20. I'm like, yeah, sure, guy. All right. And every week it's a little side hustle, it's a little play. That's the part that
But I see
I don't
what's happening, man. Everything becomes a market, right? In theory,
okay.
right? Markets are perfectly efficient, right? So the number of buyers and sellers will
Yeah.
always reach equilibrium. So there's really no way to take advantage of it. So if you can make something a market,
Hmm.
then yeah, then that's the best way to do it.
Okay.
In
That's the
theory,
well, okay, yes, and in theory, but the best way doesn't mean it's the most pleasant way every step along of the way. And in the process of getting to the best answer, there's a lot of BS that's going to happen.
oh yeah,
You
oh yeah.
know,
A lot of people gonna get hurt, no doubt, because when you have that unchecked balance, the market is almost God, if you will.
hmm
The market doesn't care, it's
yeah,
unfeeling, it's unempathetic, and so if they vote against you in the market, then you're gone. So it's yeah, I agree. The most humane way. I think that's what you're trying to say as
yeah.
well.
The people were asking, was the Paul Tyson fight rigged? And it's rigged. You can say it's rigged. It's not rigged. And have these two extremes, and then you can have all these gradations in between, where it's like the camps may have gotten together and actually discussed, hey, what are you guys trying to get out of this fight? Okay, and there's this whole area of just murkiness and grayness and weirdness that just goes on. And yeah, if we don't want to see this again, it's not going to happen again. But nah, I don't. I'm not liking this. It's what's going to happen in my eyes is that the people are going to get left behind, and the corporate entities and these group entities are going to end up winning. And it's hey, the best blank won, and it's yeah, but the people lost, so it doesn't matter.
People don't matter, man. Corporations are people. You didn't know
Damn
that?
it, I forgot. You said that last week. What am I going to do now?
Corporations are people, man, and they matter more than us, more than individuals. Heck, even people are corporations. You may be a brand, but you're a
True,
face,
true. It's
and your brand. Alex Mahosi, Alex Hormozy is
yeah.
a brand,
Hmm.
right? He will sue you. He said it in so many words that if you try to wear a tank top and wear a beard with a hat on, and try to brand your product and don't
Yeah.
use his name, but use that image, going after you, man. So
Hey, you
that's
know
a
what's funny about him? And maybe we can make an image of this. The guy from Cowboy Bebop, how his hair goes up and out into a mushroom. If you look at Hormozy now, it's like the mushroom hair is flipped upside down. If he's just got this upside down mushroom of hair coming out from underneath his chin and just
yeah.
it's dude has
He
a look
branded
now,
early.
man.
He
It's a look.
branded early, man. He knew. So kudos to him, man. I'm not mad at him, but that's how you win, man. You become a look at Trump. That's what the apprentice. That's what I got from the apprentice.
Mm,
He branded early, man. Early and often. The first building he was able to really build in New York City
yeah,
bears his name, Trump Tower. And
yeah,
everywhere you go, Trump Steaks, Trump University, Trump cabs, Trump this, Trump that. Matter of fact, when he was broke, he was able to get out of being in debt so much by licensing his name, and that's got him back on top a little bit.
yeah.
So there you go.
Quick question. So if everybody's a streamer like Kai Sanat, I saw some people from FAMU doing the homecoming stream. If all these people are streaming, like who's watching? Are other interested parties? Am I watching because I want to see my potato chip brand show up in the ad or it's weird, man. It's weird.
But I think, well, you know what? Be honest with you, man. Let's be honest. Not everybody's like us, man. At me if you want. There's always going to be producers, always going to be consumers,
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
know. And so I don't think there always going to be people who's going to watch content more than people that do content.
Oh, okay.
Because look at us, we're so dedicated. We've been doing this for damn near almost 3 years
Yeah.
now. Nobody's
So
going to do
let's
that.
let's rephrase. Okay, what is the idea of producing content and what is the idea of watching content? You have two separate concepts that aren't necessarily the classic way of thinking about them. Maybe producing is just how you go about your work. Maybe like if everybody at a job has to stream what they're doing, maybe the CEO can check in and see, hey, what's this guy streaming about? Oh, he works in department H or whatever. And if I'm a consumer, maybe I'm not thinking so much about how I'm consuming, but how I'm being a part of it. hey, this is my stream that I'm watching. I'm sending in advertising money. I'm sending in votes. I'm sending in this. I'm part of this whole machine from a consumer, quote unquote, point of view. I don't know. It's just strange. And this merging of the two. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting.
We'll see, Mr. Benja. Mr. Benja, man. This is always good, man. We always have a great time. Anything else going on this week for you?
Reading through the comments and shouting out all the haters. Hey, man, we love all the smoke. Don't take everything we say seriously. You can download your free grain of salt at getsalted.com, or I don't even know what that is. Don't go there.
Nah, man. I love the haters, man. Give us insight, man. Look, please comment below. Look, guys, we love it. Look, we want to get better, but also listen to the whole podcast, man. Maybe you'll find something that we say that you thought we said that may be different. Just listen to the whole thing and then give us some comments and actually put timestamps in there. And then definitely we'll give you a super shout out. So that's my thoughts on that. Anyway, Mr. Benja, this has been good. Everyone, thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment at Show versus Business on X, Threads, YouTube, and Instagram. Listen to us at Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Go check out our website at Show versus Business. Mr. Benja, have a great week.
Peace.